Alright, I should be live. Terribly exciting. Hopefully it works, because, well, this is a brand new computer, so hopefully it comes with brand new tech issues to deal with, of course. So, excuse any of those if they happen. Please do let me know if there's audio, because it would be nice if there was audio, although not necessarily required. They can just pretend I don't exist and the drawing does itself. That is also a viable strategy. Actually, you know, if I was... Oh, from that high, I assume I am hearable. And I hope nothing changed about anything. Because all the software I had is still the same, because I just pulled the hard drive from the laptop that broke and plopped it into this one, and it seems to be working fine, which is awesome. It's way more than I usually expect from this kind of tech. Actually, kind of crazy. Kind of crazy that you can buy this. Oh yeah, there's the first tech issue. My tablet is doing something weird. I'm barely moving it, by the way. It's actually incredible that this level of technology is available basically for a basically low price for what it is, and that you can order it one day and get it the next. It's absolutely, like, I can't exactly comprehend it, I'll be honest. It's and also I've basically this is basically filler talk as I try and figure out why this tablet has decided to stop working despite me drawing on it for half an hour before the stream. What is my UN? My United Nations? Oh, what does Toad mean? Well, it doesn't really mean anything. I think one of my friends came up with the username. I'll let you in on a little secret. It actually comes, the red in Toad actually comes from Minecraft Redstone. This is a not very well known fact, but it's pretty funny. Doesn't really have a meaning, but that's where it comes from. And actually, my email for this account has "the" at the start, because when I made it, and it was a long time ago, YouTube did not allow, YouTube or Google didn't allow 5-letter nicknames, so I couldn't make it just Toad. Little bit of history. From heard of the man from Toad pronounced the same way? I have not. I shall type that into the search bar. John Zegris? John Allen Cougar Zegris is the reported name of a real man detained in 1960 in Japan for alleged document fabrication. Is that this guy? He was dubbed as the Mystery Man by Japanese news at the time and became a prototype for some urban legends. Interesting. In October 1959, a man recorded as John Allen blah 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 36 entered Japan with his Korean wife. 3 months later, he was arrested by the, I'm not pronouncing that, police, suspected of identity fraud. He tried to cash a 1,200,000 yen check and basically tried to get a bunch of money. Huh? What's the deal? So he enters Japan. He enters Japan, and then 3 months later is arrested when he's trying to cash in a check. So what's the deal? What happened? Trying to... He said he was from a country called Toad, but this country doesn't exist. I mean, who knows? maybe it's just a top secret country and they just didn't, didn't publicly release it yet. It's in a beta test. That's interesting. So, you know what? Since I am looking for ideas for drawings, why not start with something about this mysterious man? I don't think there's a picture of him on the or anything like that on the wiki at least, but we can make something up to make it look like a mysterious man from the. He wasn't crazy. He knew when it was, and had info on current events. But none of his story stuff about the country checked out. So, did he like make up an entire city in his mind, and then relay information about that? So, or he just made up the country itself and the current, seemingly. You know what? Maybe he's just from another parallel dimension. That's entirely possible. We get those people all the time here. Just showing up from out of nowhere. So, what would a man from that showed up from a city that doesn't exist look like, or a country that doesn't exist? Well, always could be a good idea to start with a man, just basic, and find out what we can do from there. Let's pretend I've not been drawing for the last half an hour, and anything I do badly, I'm going to instantly blame on me not being warmed up, despite having warmed up. How's this for a deal? Should be probably pretty eccentric, right? Like some fancy maybe clothing, maybe some like top hat or bowler hat. I don't know. The first thing that kind of comes to mind for me is making this guy a bit old-timey, but maybe, the good old standard high collar, popped collar coat would be, I guess, the name. Could give him something like this for clothing. And he could be carrying with him a bit of luggage, and that luggage could have some stamps on it. Now this is getting very messy, but I will clean it up in a moment. Just bear with me for laying out the basic idea for this guy. Could be carrying a bit of luggage. He could be carrying his Korean wife. Seemingly that's also what he entered with. So just not sure exactly what a good representation of a Korean wife would be, but I can certainly try and draw a woman. It's just going to mention the wife. One step ahead of you. What would him holding the wife be? So like, if he's holding the luggage like this, he could be holding the wife like this, right? Very fat legs, actually. I don't know. I think this is a great direction. Yeah, this is how I imagine. This is what I imagine you normally do when you finally get a wife. You just take her places like this. I bet you can confirm. Okay. Now let's turn this terrible quick sketch into something a bit more palatable. Can confirm. Exactly. I knew it. Okay, so in terms of style, I don't know. I've never really drawn in a style. I feel like I always just draw things and they happen, and then a style might be emergent from that. Never really. I mean, I guess I can. The best I can do is like choose between whether it's a line or lineless and how thick the lines are. I suppose that's one thing. But then I feel like I am actually working kind of the best with this kind of style right here, with the thick lines and cartoony kind of the style with the cartoony style, of course. Okay, so if you can hear the fan in the background, the computer is actually experiencing liftoff at the moment. So do let me know, and if you do let me know about that, I will literally do nothing about it, because I don't know what I could possibly do about it, aside from maybe placing something between me and the laptop, which would be a bit difficult. It's like, maybe doable? I don't know. Hope it's not too loud. If it is too loud, that's very unfortunate, and I will commit seppuku, or whatever the hell you do when your audio on stream isn't working fine. Which I feel like the correct answer to that is you just blame OBS. I think that's the lesson I've learned over the years. You just OBS messed with my settings, unfortunately, and due to that, my laptop fan has started going off. I feel like I have no idea what these kinds of. I think I'm too young to understand what those like stamps and stuff on the luggage actually are. Please don't commit Sudoku. It's like I'm gonna commit Sudoku right now, watch me. It's something like this, right? And then you have each of those be like that, and then we are gonna put 1 in here, and let's say this counts as committing Sudoku. And we are going to leave that in the past, especially for the sake of YouTube, who should not know anything about anything that I'm doing. Okay. I'm liking this dude already. Okay, give him. So if he's walking, this should be slightly like bouncing up against his leg. I feel like it should be a bit like, that is terrible. I've never really practiced drawing clothing, so I just kind of wing it every time and hope nobody notices. Have you ever had a girlfriend? No, I have not. I do not know what love is. Too autistic, pardon. I don't know. Some of those days I do wonder if I've. Some of those days I do wonder if all the memeing about being autistic actually has a nugget of truth inside. I don't know. But to be honest, I have too low of an opinion of any kind of professional psychological / psychiatrical organization to actually go and check. So I think I'll just, as the solution to this, I'll just continue memeing about it. Sounds appropriate. Oh, I have a great idea for this. Look. What do you think of this? What do you think of this wife holding position? I have to ask the right man for the job. I could give the wife some kind of like heels or something. This is looking very stupid, and I love it. Wife carrying technique is impeccable. Yeah, this man, I mean, if you're traveling from a country that doesn't exist, you might as well utilize proper wife carrying techniques. Where would her hands go? Like she couldn't have them like by her side, I suppose. They could be also just like, like here, which I think it's more funny. This man is going places. I I hope he is. I wish him the best in his travels. I didn't read the article, so I don't know if he was like her hands at her side, wife burrito. But I kind of like this. Her head suddenly became very flat at the top. I don't know if I accidentally gave her brain damage with that weird stroke. Which is kind of funny because stroke is actually also a name for a medical condition or whatever the hell you call it. It's always cold. She would be wearing a jacket. So just burrito her up with her jacket. Could be, we could avoid the problem that I've just introduced, is that the shoulders on this lady are just the one of the shoulders just dislocated in a way that probably would be pretty painful if that were to actually happen. Like this is actually looking like the correct arm or here, and then you would maybe have the other one there. So silly. Yeah, this is I think this is progress. She should be happy, right? Because they are entering into, when did he enter? Japan? Yeah, Japan with Korean wife, I think that was the hold on. Was it Japan? I'm gonna check. He entered Japan with his Korean wife. It did take them 3 months to arrest him, which says something about Japan police, I presume. How did he even enter Japan? Like, don't they have some kind of border security that would maybe ask him where he's coming from? And then like wouldn't they be curious about, oh wait, you come from this country, you say, could you point that on to that country on the map? Because we cannot. The smile is kind of psychotic, and generally the face. You know, if there's one pro tip about drawing women, is if you draw a woman, just add these things to the eyes, and it already like immediately looks like a woman, almost regardless what you do. It's a fun fact. Apparently, in like if you want to do cartoony stuff, only women have eyelashes. That's a rule I've noticed. Don't try to give men eyelashes; it looks weird. Okay, she looks very happy about this situation, which I think is good. Why is that like that? You know what? I've just noticed I had YouTube set to top chat, and your last 2 messages did not appear in the top chat, only in the live chat. Like, there's YouTube, there's 1 person in the chat. Why would you hide messages? I do not get it. It's bizarre. When you are done, you should draw your favorite Polish dish. Men naturally have longer eyelashes than women, so that's why makeup exists. Women are just compensating. I understand it. The secrets of the universe are unfolding in front of me. My brain is expanding into galactic proportions as we speak. Right, this dude's neck is like this, which is kind of funny, but also kind of bad. Yes, women BTFO'd once again, exactly. Men just, you know what? There's something, like, memes aside, there's something to that. If you see all those memes about like women after putting on the $5,000 whatever the hell they do, like shampoo, and there's some other products I don't even know the name of in English, at least. And it's like some ugly picture, and then there's just man using the same bar of soap he washed his balls with, and then there's like some perfect hair from a commercial. Like, maybe there's something to that, you know? Maybe, just maybe, you know, hold that thought in your head. Whether it would be a conspiracy theory by the $5,000 might actually be an exaggeration for once. Well, I wouldn't know. $500 might not be. That's a horrifying aspect of interacting with a woman. Like, what the hell do you do when she just keeps spending money on that stuff? Like, how do you say, like, honey, maybe listen, my credit card has its limits, but I would not like to hit those limits. I'd like to stop beforehand. Okay. What does a Japanese border sign look like? I wonder. Let's look that up. Japan. Actually, does Japan even have borders per se? Don't they have just, the border of the island? Do they border with anything? I've never been good at geography, fair disclaimer. Right, border measures to prevent the spread of LeCouf. That is, I am completely disinterested in that. Let's look at images and let's look at photos. I know that Japan is an island, come on. I was fairly certain Japan, so no, it doesn't have a bordering country. Okay, because I'm fairly certain there are islands with bordering countries, like within them. You've got like the UK, which has borders inside of it. So I thought maybe there's like a tiny island and they do have some kind of border thing, but I don't think there's a. I'm trying to look for like a style of sign, and all it's coming back with is basically just airport like little banners and stuff. So I'm guessing I could base it on that. You got like a plane. Oh, okay. I have an idea. That might be fair. UK is the exception of the rule when it comes to island countries. I don't actually know enough geography to have any opinion on that. Okay, so this man would be presumably coming in through an airport or some other kind of port. Like, surely he came either by boat or by plane. So the sign I'm looking at has like a landing plane in a circle around the right side, let's say. So we're gonna draw a crude landing plane. This is definitely this is definitely how you should land a plane. I mean, I am an expert. So in the actual picture I'm looking at for reference, there's actually a little detail on the plane. That little detail is that the plane that's landing actually has like this little circle on it to symbolize the wheels touching the pad. But what I think we should do is we should just ignore that entirely and just keep the sign like this. It's like the plane is sniffing the floor. And then would be some kind of maybe arrow, and then arrivals, because he's coming from the arrivals, right? Because he's showing up to the country, so that makes sense. And then this sign is probably attached to something normally, but why would I care? This is literally a doodle. Okay, this is pretty good. If I of course I will say it's good as a completely unbiased observer that has nothing to do with this drawing. I am the best to make the judgment of quality on it. Surely nobody else would ever question my idea of what looks nice and not. Any kind of perspective on this is probably broken, but I don't think that particularly matters for this case. Hey, thank you for the compliment. We're gonna, you know what? Because Sudoku is on the same layer, so I'm just gonna cut it out, paste it in, back, and then move this to this corner here, and then hide the Sudoku. In case we need it later, I'm just gonna keep it on a layer. Okay, and this I could group and name it something. Probably in the name of the country, but how is that spelled? Oh, it's Taured, like with T-A-U. Gotcha. Okay, let's say this is the first one. Should be in either in wife's hand or sticking out of his briefcase. I like that idea. But not this Sudoku, because this Sudoku is a mess. So she could be actually, well, with this mess, she could be holding it probably. But this is way, like, this is not good enough for me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a new layer and just very quickly you know, she could be holding the Sudoku in one hand, probably the left one, and then she could be holding a pen or pencil in the other one. like this, alright? And then we're just gonna draw something symbolic of Sudoku, but less kind of detail. So it's not out of place with the rest of the drawing. I think this is gonna do nicely. Like it's not full detail, but it's like you can tell it's something with a lot of squares on it. I feel like that's good enough for me in this case. There you go. The Sudoku has been incorporated into the doodle. I really like it. What can I say? Okay, second idea I saw somewhere before. Draw your favorite Polish dish. What would be my favorite Polish dish? I like food in general. So it's kind of hard to pick one. But a funny thing that did come to my mind when somebody asked, I think, somewhere before about Polish food, is like just you know, kielbasa, which is just sausage. So like literally just a sausage. It's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. That's kind of boring though. So what else could I add to the sausage? Well, aside from the sausage, what is he? You know, pierogi. That's how you pronounce that. But I really like how somebody typed the like pierogis or something like that. And I actually liked it so much, it's basically now a meme in my alongside my close family. Like we basically say pierogis just as a funny way of saying that. Same with galumpkis, which is also a very funny way of saying gołąbki. We've also adopted that into our vocabulary, and we are very fond of it. Okay, let's try something like this, because this is made out of like cabbage. So without really looking up how a cabbage looks, this is my impression of a cabbage from what I remember of all the cabbages I've interacted with in my life. I feel like that's cabbagey. Just got a phone call from a shop I ordered stuff from. Screwed my order from them. They called me to make sure I got the right thing. That's so polite. Thanks, lads, for being nice people. It's, you know, that's something you might not necessarily get the more automated stuff is. Because then if it's completely automated, like nobody in the process cares. They just get like a little task on the monitor. Do this, pack it up, send it there. And nobody really is thinking about anything. But yeah, when you're actually a small business, you know, you care about the individual customer because you actually have a manageable number of customers instead of having them in the thousands. Actually, if you have like sausages, do you literally have kielbasa being sold, like in shops in America? That's something I'm kind of curious about. Because I genuinely have no idea what they sell over there. Aside from, I am aware, like vaguely, that there are straight up Polish shops in some places. For sure in London, I bet in places like Chicago, which have a lot of Polish people supposedly, which would explain the crime rate. Uh, I don't know. Should I be careful about saying that? I don't know. I don't think I'm big enough to be careful about stuff like that. And what's the worst that could happen? Oh no, I'm going to lose my channel. Oh no, this is horrible. I am never not going to be a niche internet micro celebrity. Wait, so they actually sell it under the name like kielbasa? That is interesting if they do. Really? Do they really sell it as pierogies? Okay, so for reference, when we write kielbasa, we actually do it with an L, which is like an L with a stroke through it, and it says kieł. It's like W woo woo oo. Okay, under that name, that's interesting. I would not have expected that. Have you heard of bigos, which is not going to be very possible for me to draw because it's basically just small chunks of sausage, kielbasa plus cabbage, also just in like strands, and then you also can add, well, not bigos, but there's a variant of it where you add like pasta to it. And it's usually the best when you reheat it a couple times. You fry this, I think fry this, and you boil the pasta, and just throw it all together. That's wasanki actually, and without the pasta, it's bigos. Pretty good. Actually, so fun fact about this. Begin Creole Cajun food. I do not know what that is. I will educate myself. Cajun, ethnic group of Louisiana, also known as Louisiana Acadians, are Louisiana French ethnicity mainly found in the U.S. state of Louisiana. Okay. I am not familiar with that in the slightest, but I'll actually. What do they eat? Creole. Creole. Yeah, gotcha. Those more weird words are the ones I have the most trouble pronouncing. It's sometimes I like most normal words I can look at, be like, that's probably how you pronounce that, and then I pretend I always knew. It's French, that's why I don't know it, because I hate the French and I want nothing to do with them. Which is very funny in context. Of course. What other horrible nightmares of Polish kitchen could I add? They eat lobster, shrimp, and crawfish. Okay, lobster I am aware of, shrimp I am aware of, crawfish I probably am aware of, but just don't recognize the word. Crawfish. Right, what's crawfish? Crawfish. That's like... Oh, okay. I thought these are the same as lobsters, but apparently they are not. Maybe Crawfish are like small lobsters, yeah. Does look like that. I have never had any of those, and honestly, I don't know if I would be capable of eating one if somebody put it in front of me. Like these things do not look like they should be eaten by humans. That is my opinion about my general opinion about seafood. Like, you know, there's that jellyfish, whatever the hell you call them. You know, the jellyfish can swim in peace somewhere else, and I don't have to eat it. This is my like, do not don't eat them. I mean, you can eat them, just don't make me eat them. Water bugs as opposed to real bugs are tasty. I don't want to eat real bugs at all. Water bugs, maybe, if somebody tricks me into eating one and I like it. But I just... Uh, I don't know. Something about the shape of that, like, lobster thingy is like... I don't know. I think they look like this. This is completely from memory, so... And I've not looked at many lobsters, but I think most of my knowledge about lobsters comes from memes. I think this looks somewhat like a lobster. Rate my lobster, you know. That's an idea. Okay. With that, what other Polish food exists that is pretty good? Żurek. I don't know if you've heard of that. That's you make a soup. You once again involves kielbasa. You add some eggs. There's some carrots. The other thing I need to look up the name of because I don't remember it. Let's see. Okay. What is it? It's parsnip / parsley. Okay, so you add that. You add a bunch of other things, which I'm probably butchering the recipe, but like I've not done it myself, so never heard of that. It's a soup. It's not. I don't know if soup counts as a dish, but it's a mishmash. Pierogies, I don't actually understand what the difference between pierogies and dumplings is. I think that's just people for some reason use the Polish name when they are the Polish type. I'm not. You know what? That's another thing I could just straight up look up. Dumplings. Okay, if are dumplings some specific kind of? Oh, okay. So if you look, this is kind of what a Polish dumpling, I guess, looks like. And then if you look online, if I'm looking, there's like weird ones that look kind of like this, like they are packed. They are packed differently. I see some ones that are like slightly like this, have this like sharp shape with some of those on them. Something like that. This looks similar, somewhat similar to the Polish variant. Yeah, but there's a lot of these, and I guess the difference is in the shape and maybe what you put inside. The most popular ones for Poland are gonna be you're gonna have actually it's called ruskie. It's kind of like Russian but pejorative slightly. They have nothing to do with Russia, so I don't really know where the name comes from. And then these have like white cheese and something else also in them. Pepper for sure, but there's also more stuff. There's ones with once again cabbage and mushrooms. And there's gonna be a variant with just meat, ground meat, question mark. Actually, is ground... Hold on. Have I just discovered what ground beef actually means? I might have. Yes, okay. Okay. I now understand what ground beef actually means instead of... You know, the power of memes, like, because of some meme I saw online, I never really used ground beef in a sentence to describe anything, or had it something described to me using that word. So the meme I just have in my mind is like this stupid cow with no legs on the ground, and just the words ground beef underneath. And I've just had this image in my mind every time somebody said ground beef. I just had this in my mind. I completely did not associate this word with grinding, as in, So yeah, I guess ground beef is gonna be on the drawing as well. Why not? Man, that's embarrassing. I maybe not even embarrassing. That's just funny because I've had this happen with a bunch of other words as well. Because it's sometimes there are things you just hear people use, and like it's not interesting enough to actually look up what it means. So it kind of stays in this limbo of a word or like an expression I am aware of, but I don't actually know what it means. So it's a very, very funny moment to me. Okay, maybe let's leave the cow like this. Ground beef. I can't believe it. It did not get what ground beef is for so long. Okay, what other thing can I possibly add to this? The one thing I actually like to do sometimes is just make random squiggles, something like that, and just see if I can see something in the shape I make. I just try and do something with that. So like, what could this one be? Yeah, it's kind of like looking at clouds, and looking for shapes, except this one is you make the cloud that you look at. So I'm thinking this looks kind of like a very wonky draw your most accurate AR-15, no reference, and I'll critique it, no reference. Okay, that's a good challenge. I draw an M16, I think, for Ash, fairly certain. And I don't necessarily even know which particular gun the AR-15 is. So, because you have to excuse me, but I don't know if you saw the one I shared, but somebody drew a rifle basically like this. Like it had the mag here, the barrel was not connected to the chamber at all. And there was like, you this is basically the last image of a gun, and this is actually less mangled than whatever the hell that person did. This is the last image that just comes to my mind. Okay, let's try it. AR-15 is very similar to M16. So the M16, I mostly remember as it has like this thing over here, and it has this characteristic. I think this is the grip ? You can deduct me points if this is not what you actually hold. Then you have like this little piece of pipe or whatever the hell for the stock. The stock, I recall from the drawing, I think looks something like this. Actually, the top I think is straight, doesn't have any additional decorations, but I think this one has something like that on it. There's the grip somewhere over here, for sure, and then the mag. I actually cannot remember. I think the mag is curved, not straight. Ends like somewhere over there. There's something like this little lid over here, which I'm not sure what exactly it does, but I remember it being there, so can't forget the trigger, the grip. This is wonky looking, but Right. Oh yeah, there's this thing at the end. That's very. I think if I if I forgot that, that would have not been quite the same shape. The stock is kind of iffy because it's not in line with the rest of the rifle. I mean, to be fair, I drew this one fairly recently, so I kind of have the image still in my memory. But if you wanna see a very disastrous effect of this challenge, I could try an AK-47, which you would think from the region I am from, it should not be a massive problem. Triangle is a bit further back. Right in front of the hand guard. You mean this triangle? I mean, makes sense because it's where the sight is, right? So you would want to have this be closer to your eye. To the AK. Oh yeah. Oh god, that's not that large, surely. This is now I made it too tiny because it's like actually significantly like it has a significant size to it. The triangle. Front triangle. Okay, this triangle is fine? Fine. Right in front of the hand guard. So this is called the hand guard, huh? Okay, hold on. Front triangle. Okay. No, that's not there. Okay, it's something like this. I feel like this is not too far off. There's certainly something here. I think there might be something like this. Now I'm kind of making shit up. Oh yeah, there's I think it's called the forward assist. Something like this, a circular one. I also do not know what that does, but you know, funny thing about why I remember this this existing is actually I watched a video about Counter-Strike guns and the M4A1 in Counter-Strike, I think Source and before. Actually, the animation is the character pulls on this to reload it. I do not know what the forward assist is. I know that it exists. I don't know what it does. So the character was like pulling on something like this instead of, because normally you cock this gun by, I think there's a handle here. You pull it, right? There's like a bit, I don't know what that looks like, but there's a thing there, you pull it to cock the gun, but the the characters in Counter-Strike were pulling on this, was pointed out in that video, and from that point on I was I just remember that exists. And even what it is called, but I actually don't remember what it does. So that's a little story about that. Okay. That is not the worst AR-15/M16, but let's try the AK, which is going to be worse, surely. It's been a while since I've seen an AK, so always a good baseline for guns is to start with like a line that's kind of gonna be what the gun is based around. Oh god, it starts here. So the AK has a bunch of wood on it, and one of the wooden parts I think I remember is like a thing for your hand towards the barrel. This is already a disaster. I remember the sights on the AK are actually pretty big. This thing at the end. I know the word in Polish. I cannot for the life of me remember the word in English. I don't know if I've even heard the word in English, actually. Is it literally the triangle? Could be. Okay, so the AK has like this kind of pattern on here. It has a curved mag, that's for sure. And it has a wooden stock that goes something like this. This is starting to look like a shotgun. I drew front sight, not triangle. Okay, front sight is good enough. This is, you know what? Might as well just make it a shotgun and try. Curved mags. What did I say? I'm afraid I've committed some kind of grave sin without even realizing. Okay, maybe this is not the correct thing to start with for this one, because I do remember the shape of the mag better than I remember anything else. Like, this is the simpler part. Curved mags is a reference. Okay, unfortunately, as we've hopefully established by now, I am not cultured in anything, so unfortunately I'm just going to Google curved swords. Okay. I shall. Elden Ring Wiki. Curved swords are extremely high DPS. Arguably, I somehow doubt that's it, but maybe. I don't know. Okay, let's. Oh no, this is gonna play on.
In this Elden Ring video, I'm gonna
Oh my god. Well,
show you why curved swords are the best weapon.
I found a video on how the curved swords are the best weapon in Elden Ring. Curved swords meme might be a better. Okay. It's a catchphrase associated with rejecting cookies. Catchphrase associated with town guards from the Elder Scrolls V 5 Skyrim. In the game, guards will approach a player and say, "You see those warriors from Hammerfell? They've got curved swords." Curved swords. The dialogue became a popular reference in memes, similar to "I took an arrow to the knee." I am aware of "I took an arrow to the knee" at least, but I am not aware. Okay, let's play this.
You see those warriors from Hammerfell? They've got curved swords. Curved swords. You see.
Okay. Reminds me of another meme. There's a. I guess reminds me of some variant of soy face. It's like, dude, they have Mario over there. Mario! Or something like that. Okay. Pardon the lines for now, but I am gonna try and construct this gun from whatever the scraps of memory I have of seeing it at some point. With how much CS I've played, I should remember what the AK-47 looks like, but wait, it has like those double. Okay, I remember something. I remember a detail. There's a second, like, there's not a barrel. I don't think the AK has two barrels. That would be very weird. But there's a second kind of pipe below the barrel on the front. Front side is decently large. And you have something like this somewhere over here. I am making this up as I go along, but hopefully that's not. Okay, and there's. I can't remember the stock on the AK. I can't remember anything about the AK. Could I draw Totoro from my neighbor Totoro? I could try that. Next, as soon as I try and figure out what an AK looks like from memory. It does not have two barrels. It has a gas tube on top and barrel on the bottom. I didn't realize the barrel is actually on the bottom. That is interesting. Okay, so I remember that the stock on the AK is not quite as simple as the stock on the M16. It's wooden and it has like some kind of something on it. some kind of, like, the shape isn't quite as simple, and I'm not sure what that is exactly. AKs actually have a charging handle on the side. That's I do know that. Okay, this is rough. The AR also has a barrel on the bottom and gas tube on top. The gas tube on the AR is hidden behind the handguard. Oh, so it has like a little port here that like exhausts stuff, or did not know that. That is interesting. Because I do assume this is the handguard. This is not looking exactly like the AK. I can't help but notice this does not look like the AK. Which means I am definitely getting some major parts wrong. Because as long as you get like the general shape / placement of things, usually the brain can add the details to kind of be a bit more, you know, correct on it. And some kind of Discord server, hard to explain. I could hop into a Discord call if you'd like to explain something. I have no trouble with that. Okay. Okay, just I have it on the other monitor, so just call me when you are ready and you can explain whatever you want to me as I try and draw an AK poorly. Like this on the mag, maybe? No, I'm just... Okay, It's... No, there's something wrong about this bit. Okay. Hello!
Greetings, Tord.
Welcome to the stream. We are...
Thanks. I'm happy to be here.
My AK is very close. Okay, so... Gun review. I'm going to... grab a picture of an AK-47 and just paste it in in the drawing next to next. Oh yeah. Okay. It's so mine is very compact, let's say. From okay, I kind of remembered something about the stock.
Yep.
I did remember the 2 barrels, but I remembered them very wrong. It actually has like 3 pipes.
The order is incorrect.
It has like 3 pipes.
What do you mean?
Actually. Like this is.
What do you mean 3?
There's a third one up top. I don't know what that is. That might not even be a pipe, but like this is a tiny.
No, that's
yeah.
Yeah, that's not quite a pipe. So the thing on the bottom is one long barrel, and then on top where it goes like halfway down the barrel, that's the gas tube.
Oh, okay. So this is the gas tube is on top and the barrel is on the bottom. Yeah, I remember this handle. Didn't quite remember that it actually has a second wooden component on top, which is a detail. It's probably where. Now I'm wondering if this is straight up a 3D model, or if it's a picture. I kind of remember that the stock had something on it. I did not remember the shape correctly at all. The mag is curved, but that's not. And it has like those stripes along it. That I remembered, but I did not remember the mag is actually kind of on the flat. Like there's a flat line here with the handle on it, and then the trigger and the guard is kind of below that. That's actually worth remembering, like the anatomy of an AK, essentially. So you got a straight line. It's a very straight line kind of gun. Like this, like in the AR, you can tell the body is way more complex. Actually, let me grab I guess M16 and do the same. Okay, M16, maybe AR-15. M16 is way longer actually, and the AR-15 looks nothing like this. So I guess I'll try and copy and paste the. Okay, so this is the. Okay, so mine is definitely shorter. Like I seem to be drawing just things more compact than they actually are. The triangle in the middle of the gun is not even triangle in the original. The stock is simpler, but I think the picture I remember had a stock like this, fairly certain. And then there's, yeah, the body on this has more stuff going on than this, like, 3 straight lines of the AK. I am pretty much a noob when it comes to guns, so you'll have to excuse any weird vocabulary that might show up. Alright. I have been asked in the chat to draw Totoro, so I'm going to look up a reference. That's the circular dude. I might have watched a part of that at some point in my life. Maybe. But I can just look at references and try something. Okay, so let's make some space. Actually, if you wanted to explain something, this would be a perfect moment to do so. Actually, are you even in the call? Because I don't have sounds on. You are not. Alright. This is... I realize because Discord has like streamer mode, and when you are in streamer mode, it plays no sounds. So I did, because it seemed like you couldn't hear me. I probably couldn't. Way too many. I've watched My Neighbor Totoro too many times. Great movie. Maybe I should watch it. I like barely watch anything these days. Like I can't be asked to watch most things, especially like any modern movie is just I don't care at all. Something older, I slightly don't care. I am a bit of a workaholic, so drawings were pretty dang close for not being a gun weeb. Well, I'll take that as a compliment. I am not a gun weeb, but I think I've had a bit more to do with firearms than your average European person. Maybe. For legal reasons, I will not elaborate. Okay. Let's try this round dude. Okay, so this is gonna be a rough start, and then I'm gonna try and figure something out from there. Okay. Pardon. I am I am finding my I can't. This facial expression is just too funny. For man, it's a good joke if you're making yourself laugh and nobody else has to. Okay, so this is so stupid. It's like this. He's weird. This guy's not nearly round enough on this drawing, but okay, we'll make him like we are gonna make him more round, but the facial expression is, I think I've captured perfection on the first try. So now it might be too round, actually. He is pretty round, don't get me wrong, but the head is not. I've made the head too small, and thus all the proportions are completely out of whack. You know what? I'm gonna do that in the second draft, and in this one I'm just gonna add more details, and then I'm just gonna iterate on it. Simply. So it's got like these arrow-y things. There's probably something in the lore about that. Like that, I don't know. This is we're winging it. Okay. That's a pretty beefy arm for him. He doesn't seem in the original he doesn't seem like the type to hit the gym too hard, but I guess this one has been lifting. Uh, man. I can't. It's perfect. I'm just, you know what? The I I think what I should do is I should actually also paste in the reference picture I was using, because just looking at those two side by side is what is making me laugh so much. Oh, my jaw. Pain. Okay. Look. His head shrunk and he's been hitting the gym in the meantime, but he's mostly fine. Okay, so let's put that on a lower opacity. And let's do a second go. This time, actually, I'm gonna make this even more transparent, because okay, so let's draw a big circle, and then from that big circle, we're gonna kind of try and approximate the shape of the reference. He's like a giant, I don't know, avocado. the kind, this kind of shape, avocado? Question mark. Question mark. Seems like it. All right. And then it actually has its eyes are like more on the front. Yeah. Okay, this is something. Now this smile has like, it's pretty subtle, but it has like some. It's a very well done facial expression. Like, it is more than just a dumb smile. It has like a bit. I don't know the words to express what I'm thinking about it, but I've definitely. Point being, what I've drawn is not quite what I would like it to be. I think that's the overall point I was trying to. No, I'm not doing that. That's okay. I'm just gonna give it a couple iterations, because this so far looks absolutely atrocious. The first one was at least funny, the second one just looks bad, straight up. The proportions are completely out of whack on this. That's why it looks so bad. Now, these things are not actually sharp, and they are not. They are like integrated. They are not separated from the head. They are like on the head, essentially, without any real separation. I can't get enough of this. Keep the first one. I'm definitely keeping the first one. I'm just trying to make one that looks closer to the original. I am definitely keeping the first one. I'm gonna take it out from underneath and restore the full opacity to it. I'm just trying to maybe try and capture the original a bit better. Or maybe make something a bit also silly. I think I might be using too wide a brush for that. If you can even call it a brush, because I've opted into using the most basic tool you could possibly use, which is it just draws pixels. There's no anti-aliasing, there's no float, there's nothing. It just draws straight up pixels. You can see every single pixel if you zoom in. I quite like the style. It is actually, it's pretty fun to work with this style on something lower resolution as well, because it kind of it's like on the verge between drawing and pixel art. I don't know. I don't think I you know what? I think I'm just keeping the first one, honestly. It's too good. The only problem is every time I'm going to look on the canvas onto this drawing, I'm just going to be uncontrollably giggling and probably blowing too much air into the microphone, which is slightly unprofessional, but you know what? Too bad. In my defense, I have never claimed to be professional in any way, shape, or form. I am just straight up winging it. Okay. What other cool stuff could I put on the canvas? I'll start making a random line and seeing what happens. That's not an interesting random line. Neither is this, but maybe. You know what? I'm drawing fire. That's right. I figured it out. Cause if there's something that looks pretty good, if you draw random curvy lines, it is fire. It's probably also women, but there's the market of drawing women is actually completely oversaturated. Like every other person you can find on the internet just draws women. And honestly, as a sexist, I cannot stand for that. I cannot allow women to continue any further on the internet. Give the fire a derpy smile? Sure thing. That's too large. There you go. That's the derpy smile for the fire. We could have some like little sparks flowing out from out of it. Maybe some, you know, additional smoke effects, question mark. Fire is actually way simpler to draw than good fire is, like, is stylized like this. Well, what I'm basically saying is I've kind of figured out how to draw fire that looks alright in this style. I've not figured out how to draw smoke that isn't just, you know, a cloud like that. It's not exactly what smoke looks like, but I guess I could give it a couple tries and maybe something that looks approximately good is going to emerge once I give it enough tries. This looks pretty alright, if I do say so myself, as once again a completely unbiased observer on the scene. And you know, what's better to hold a bowl of fire than a Greek style column, honestly. There you go. That's I feel like that's decent. Maybe then add some coal on the bottom, because, like, you know, something's got to be burning there, surely. I think that's pretty cool. Maybe also give like this a second layer to the fire, but I think this kind of works with the simplistic style for the doodles I've been doing. It's pretty fun to draw with a something I've learned I quite enjoy doing is also drawing with a very broad brush, because it kind of it makes it so that if there's so lines actually have to be very purposeful to actually deliver the kind of look you would like. And it also allows the viewer's eye to do a lot of the work, so you can imply something, and you know you can imply something, and even if it's not necessarily very readable at first glance, you know, you can probably figure out what I mean just from the couple lines. Maybe you can, maybe you cannot, I don't know. You know, that's something. I quite like doing that. This is the thickest lines I've drawn on this canvas. if I continue like that, there's probably not going to be... You know what is kind of interesting? Black and white shading. It's a bit difficult to do, and I've not really done it a lot. But if you have like something more interesting than just a cube, so like for example, let's imagine a bit of curtain, I guess. Like how do you shade a shape like this without using, well, shades and just using black and white? Because there's the main two things I've kind of noticed is like you can use thicker lines in certain places to kind of show shadow without actually drawing shadow. So in this case, I would like, because this one is in front of the other one, I would like it to have a bit of a thicker line there. And similarly, this one is in front, so also here, a bit of a thicker line. But that's not all of it, and I've not quite figured it out. But besides that, there's techniques. Some people are crazy good at drawing and at rendering and at shading, and then you can have a guy who's just operating with black and white, and yet you are looking at it and your eye is basically seeing the shades he's putting there despite them not actually being there. It's kind of incredible how people can do that. Like in here we could, for example, make this entirely black to like suggest this is really the layer furthest in the back. And then maybe this a bit of a shape. Maybe another one. Not really, no. I would once again like to say I am making this up as I go along. There's no predetermination here. Sorry, Calvinists. I think that's the branch of Christianity that does that. Don't hold me accountable for that information. I did not verify it in the slightest. Does this even look like a curtain anymore? But you know what? There's a safe and sure way to ensure it looks like a curtain. That is to hang it on something. Calvinists, that's right. Did I say something else? I think I said Calvinists. I will give myself a virtual pat on the back for remembering that tiny factoid. Does this look like a... like not really. Like this would benefit from probably having 2 layers. I think I said, yeah, I also think I said Calvinists, but you know what? It's the internet. Don't trust anyone, not even yourself. If I really cared about it, I would rewind the stream and check, but I don't think I do. So I'm just gonna keep on trucking with this little thing. Not sure what I'm doing with it, I'll be honest. I've lost the plot. So if I have something like this, then it follows that the curtain would be on some kind of like rings, because normally you don't just straight up place curtains over there and, I don't know, like glue them to the bar. I feel like that wouldn't be very beneficial to the operation. I've made it very wavy initially. Maybe that was better than what I'm currently doing, because now it's just straight lines mostly. It's not very exciting. And now I've made basically just black and white bars. It doesn't even look like anything anymore. So I think that's not an improvement. That's a degradation question mark. Okay, so let's just add some rings to this, and maybe just leave it like that, and pretend I've never done the bad thing. I think that's one way to go about it. Okay, let's check if there's nothing on mines. No, there's nothing on mines, at least if I have not been failed by the mechanism of refreshing the page. No, there's nothing. All right. How's the time looking actually? Okay, we've been going for an hour and 13 minutes. Maybe it's time to draw something in color. How about that? Been using black and white for long enough. What could it be though? Could try a tree. Trees are usually pretty good. For an idea, maybe I'll actually just throw in a new canvas. That one is safe in the other tab and also on my hard drive, and we can try maybe a tree. So trees are pretty tricky to draw. I've figured, because like sure you can do the basic shape, but actually shading trees is I wanted to watch like a tutorial on how to render trees, and I've only remembered now that I've actually once again decided to embark on the journey on my own, which surely could bring nothing but positive effects and definitely not a discouraging failure. So yeah, trees are kind of crazy to draw, because you got like the level of complexity in a tree is basically so big you can't really actually represent it. You have to take shortcuts one way or another. I think actually the way they do trees in 3D games, pretty sure they have algorithms to generate them. Like nobody actually makes trees by hand. Maybe like touch up a basic thing that was generated from an algorithm, but I don't think they actually, like, if it's not low poly, I don't think they do it manually, which is kind of understandable. Like honestly, I've tried building a custom tree in Minecraft at some point. It's a bit of a nightmare to do. Turns out like getting the shape of the tree right is a very complex task for some reason. Maybe because the tree is just complex. It's very hard to actually get it right. So from that prelude, I'm sure nothing will possibly go bad about this. Okay, what else can I add? Maybe some like helping branches could maybe work. So to kind of guide later thing, and I guess I'll start shading and see how it goes. Like at least hopefully with this basic setup, it's going to at the very least look like a tree. So that's a good start. Let's try it. Actually, before I do try it, I'm just gonna, okay, throw this on. And maybe some details on the bottom to kind of make sure the thing actually like is in some kind of terrain, you know. Those things actually add a lot usually. Like you don't even have to do much in terms of detailing, you just have to hint at it, and it makes things way more interesting very fast. It's like even if you just have a straight line, as soon as you know, erase a bit of the line and just add a couple of hints at maybe detail, like the viewer's eye is going to try and fill in what you haven't drawn and create like an illusion of there being more to what you are doing than, you know. Like you could fill this in as like there's, okay, there's some mountains, you know, maybe there's another mountain, this is a river. It's not much detail at all, but if you give it a bit of creativity and a bit of direction, then I don't know, either the viewer is going to do it or the viewer is going to call you a lazy hack, which maybe could be deserved. Alright, that's very dark. That's too dark even. Okay. Back to first grade we go. It's time to color in some tree. Why not? So the thing is, for example, if I were to create like layers for leaves on this tree, one thing I could do is I could make the layers like in front of the trunks, behind the trunks, or maybe have the back ones on another layer. But what I'm gonna try and do, so I'm gonna try and do it without layers. Why? Because there's no challenge quite as good as Pointless Challenge, introduced by not utilizing all the tools available. So the question is, if I spam a bunch of tiny shapes, will it look like leaves or will it look like a disaster? Vote now in the comments. Because if you really think about it, isn't a tree just a giant collection of green points, being the leaves? And then you could maybe start defining some kind of areas in those dots. Now the colors are not looking very lively yet, but that's because I'm doing basically trying to do a somewhat neutral shade of green and then a shadow. I think when I start adding the lit part of the trees, it's going to start looking a bit more betterer. Okay, let's introduce some like really dark ones, especially around the branches, and around the maybe center. All right, so this is basically intended to later contrast with any kind of stronger ones, stronger light parts I'm going to add. So if the more darker an area is, the more kind of the more the light parts are gonna stand out. So for that, let's also introduce a bit of shade to the tree. So actually, where is the light coming from? Could be from above. Maybe could be slightly. I kind of default almost every time to lighting from the top right corner. And if you look at through the stuff I draw, that is so much the default that you can most likely see it in almost every drawing I do. I probably should mix it up from time to time, and I think I sometimes do, but I feel like I don't mix it up enough. I should pay more attention to the thing, and I hope I didn't ruin anything for anybody by making people notice that fact, because it's probably now going to be annoyingly noticeable as opposed to not very visible. Which in terms of marketing myself is probably a bad idea to do, but on the contrary, I don't actually really care about marketing myself. So there's that. Well, that only leaves being polite. And why would I be polite to strangers on the internet? That'd be an incredibly stupid thing to do. Nobody does that. The internet is for being rude. It was created for that. It is said in the constitution of the internet that the guy who invented the internet has unanimously passed by voting himself. You're not autistic about lighting. I sometimes feel like I'm not autistic enough about lighting myself. But then I sometimes come into contact with the good old regular person, and I realize I am way more autistic about many things than I even think about. Like, you know, on like normally I just, you know, think about things and that's it. Like I just think about it, and I think about it until I find it satisfactory to end a kind of thought, or like maybe end adjusting something, stuff like that. It turns out that is considered very autistic by more people than I expected. I'll be honest. More people than I expected find just working on a thing to like do it to repeat some stuff over and over again until a good result is achieved. A lot of people find that more autistic than I expected. I thought some things are normal. Turns out they are not. They are just this weird thing I do because of insert something here. Could be upbringing, maybe could be something else. This is too often. There's some interesting connotations to that, because it actually makes that kind of, it's not a straight upgrade, you know, in terms of, oh, that's great, you pay so much attention to this. It's no, not really. It's like, well, it's good for things that require paying attention to, but for things that don't require paying attention to, and especially for things that paying attention to them could be detrimental, it becomes a bit of a problem, because it wastes time, it annoys people, and annoyed people are a whole lot less productive than not annoyed people. And if you annoy your teammates, well, maybe then they are not gonna want to work with you anymore. And then also, I am definitely overthinking a lot of that. That is kind of what happens. I've never been particularly great at multitasking. I'm sure I've brought this topic up before because it's a great filler for when my mind isn't coming up with anything else. I can talk about how bad I am at multitasking. It's got my back anytime. I'm too busy doing something else to actually think about a proper topic. Okay, so what does a bright light on a tree trunk actually look like? Will this be an accurate representation? Because there's usually, you know, when the light shines through a tree, you've got those little openings that spawn kind of small highlights, like where the sun was actually capable of coming through the leaves into the... This whole thing is very shiny. The whole thing is very shiny, but I think it's mostly fine. It doesn't even look too bad without the lines. I'm gonna keep them in for now, though. Okay, so maybe what I could try to do is... Okay, wrong layer, first of all. So probably want to do it on the correct layer. So I could introduce something over the top of this layer to just you know, add some more leaves actually going in front of the most of the tree structure. Hello, Box Square. I see you there in the chat. Welcome to me drawing a tree while rambling madly. I hope you enjoy your stay. I've got been drawing for a while now, so I can show you a bit of what we've done before. Currently, I just want to finish up the front layer on this tree, and then I can maybe switch context a bit. So this is entirely too shiny. I should go back to this layer and just reduce the amount of highlights I've put in, because it's a bit overbearing. And those highlights don't work quite as well when they are not highlights. They are like the average of the thing. Well, thank you for the compliment. Definitely. I am usually a very harsh judge on the quality of my own stuff, so I genuinely have no idea what this looks like to an average observer from the outside. It's pretty interesting. it seems like this goes basically no matter what skill level you are. Maybe this kind of ends around the level of like absolute master of a craft, where you end up at a level where you are kind of like, yeah, my stuff is good and I don't think it can't really be made any better, but I am far from that. And I think what happens is you have tastes, you have trained your eye to see certain things, and so you're at a level where you see the flaws, but you can't necessarily fix them yet. So you kind of end up with this situation where you might be frustrated with your own creations. I've mostly cut out like weird kinds of self-deprecation, stuff like that, and it seems to have had a positive impact. I'm mostly very happy with the stuff I'm able to do, but I also realized that when I was very unhappy about the quality of the stuff, I was worse. I've gotten better, and it's kind of nice to see the progress. But yeah, okay. I was supposed to show the previous duels, so we've got we've got some black and white sketches here. It all started from this man on the left, who is a mysterious man. Oh, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the channel, I suppose. Oh no, I didn't turn off Steam. Hold on. I have to settle this emergency. I am stream at the moment, thus I cannot participate in gaming related activities. Alright. I think that crisis has been dealt with, and I shall now... Steam actually has a do not disturb function. Awesome. I'm gonna turn that on, and now you shouldn't be interrupted by random Steam notifications. So, anyway, started with this dude over there. That dude is I think pronounced... Can't remember what he's called, but it's a guy who's come to Japan with his wife, pictured here, and he said he's from a country that is called, I think, Toad, but it's spelled different than my name. Oh my god. Nebu has a suggestion. I somehow feel like that suggestion is going to be to go play TF2. Sneaking... God damn it. Listen, buddy. I am drawing here, and I will... Listen, you can't just come into my chat and spam Colin Free and expect me to just treat you with respect. Like, that's not what a real man does. A real man would have banned me from YouTube by reporting my videos or something like that. Colin Free. You know what? We could combine TF2 and Colin Free into something, into some kind of drawing. I don't know yet, but what could be a good combination of TF2 and Colin Free? I will think about that in a moment. As I've established before, I am terrible at multitasking, and so I shall not think about that until it is appropriate. Gonna be finishing the stream up in probably like half an hour, because it's in like 20 minutes, so after that I could maybe do something else before I perish from this mortal coil into the wonderful land of being asleep. And until then, I shall try and maybe finish this little tree drawing I've started. Happy little trees to reference something I've been reminded of, I think, a couple streams ago. Yeah, so anyway, this stream has been pretty fun. What I usually do on Fridays is I have a friend over and we work on a pretty big drawing of a overgrown steampunk city. It's pretty much the biggest drawing I've ever attempted, and we are currently we've done like 7 streams, and I'm still at the sketching of it stage, kind of thinking what is going to actually be there. So it's a bit of a slow burn, but you know what? The atmosphere is chill. I do this mostly to just relax, and because I love talking. And you know what? If somebody enjoys me talking, then too bad. That is your problem, and you have to deal with it. Anyway, all right. Let's try maybe adding some highlights to the grass. This is way too saturated. Try maybe. I don't know. We'll wing it. As I've been doing, I'll continue to be winging it until it looks like something presentable, which I think it already looks decently presentable. I'm pretty happy with how this is going. I had nothing in mind when I started this little tree, so any result that looks somewhat good or even nice is very acceptable, very welcome, and a nice surprise. Boop. Okay, these highlights, I'm not sure if they look very good. I think I should bring something onto the layer in front of the tree as well. And if I do that, it's gonna be a bit more nice on the detail side. Don't bring that into my chat. You wouldn't. Boop. Okay. Yeah, there's a bunch of actual grass. Would you believe it? And by actual grass, I mean just like everything else on this picture is just blobs. And the modus operandi is more blobs the better, and when in doubt, add more blobs. Very simple. Okay, maybe add some horizontal patches of highlights as well. Not yay grass. This is the most excited I've ever seen anyone be about grass, I'll be honest. Okay, this doesn't look too bad, I don't think. Okay, what does this look like without the lines? It actually looks pretty cool without the lines. I feel like it might be a good idea to try and add a bit of shape to it and add a bit of detail and just make it lineless. I think it's gonna look better in the long run, especially. So we could bury some of this root into the ground around here. Could add some exposed ground maybe around. Could be a decent plan. This should probably be darker because it's going in the background and behind the tree. So yeah, have something like that. Is there something? There's literally nothing in the foreground. What was here? Was there a line here? There was. Okay, that's why it's not filled in. I understand. I've kind of trolled myself with that. How long have I been streaming? If you mean this stream, there's a timer in the bottom right corner around that should be showing somewhere around 1:45. No, it's 1:37. I've slightly overestimated. So this one's for 1:37, but I have been doing the sketches for the majority of the stream. So this tree's you could probably like hover over the rewind bar and just check how long this has been going for, because it's not that long, I think. This has been so far it's been a pretty good result for the little Actually, it's interesting because I'm not sure if you can actually check the not sure if you can actually check the stream time on YouTube itself. I know you can like hover over the bar or like scroll it to the furthest left it can go and then get like the minus whatever to get the time. I'm not sure if it like displays the actual amount anywhere, like the actual timer. It displays it on my end in the top left corner in my little preview on the streamer tools, but I am fairly certain only I have access to that. And if you do have access to that, please do not do anything bad. Yeah, I figured I'm going to kind of try and turn those little blobs I've had into more defined shapes by giving them the bottoms the bottom of the shapes a bit of shadow, so kind of trying to integrate those random blobs into something that looks like a bit more of an organized collection of random blobs, if you catch my drift. So maybe like, you know, I see a bit of a blob here, so maybe try and define that blob a bit better by adding those, and I think that's a beneficial strategy. Seems like it. This is looking some kind of way. So now maybe from the other side I could define the edge of those shapes by cutting off a bit from the highlights. So this would serve two purposes. This would make me a bit happier with because the highlights currently are a bit too much, I feel like, so I think I can kind of hit two birds with one stone, or whatever the hell, kill two birds with one stone, I think is the thing. So try and introduce introduce some shape to the blobs, and also reduce the slightly overbearing glows I've introduced. But also I shouldn't, because I feel like I've been kind of removing contrast from these, and that's probably a bad idea. Shouldn't be doing that, because turns out contrast kind of important. Makes things look nice when they have some contrast to them. Let's try and remove that. It's a bit out there. Actually, maybe it's a good idea to have it a bit out there, because there's this temptation to just make things very regular, and trees are anything but regular. Like there's some kind of order to how they are structured but there's really no like rules that, oh no, the tree cannot stretch in this direction because it's been stretching in the other for too long. So a tree is somewhat random. Cannot really necessarily tell. Okay, let's bring back the front layer. There you gotta go. Well, have a nice day/evening/night. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you for subscribing. I am streaming at around this time, well, 2 hours before that, on Friday. So if you would like to stop by, feel free to. Bye bye. You know what is regular? My bowel movements. That sounds pretty good, actually. You know what? Having regular bowel movements, or maybe that's bad. I don't know. I am in no way a medicinal man, a doctor, or anything of the sort, really. You know what? I would say this looks pretty darn good. I had genuinely no clue I was even capable of drawing something like this. Especially without any brushes, because this is still the same regular just I draw pixels brush. There's nothing special about it. Let's continue a bit, maybe, or maybe just leave this one alone because it looks kind of alright. I don't know. Can I quickly find someone to delegate the decision to, so I don't have to engage with the pain of decision making? I think this is a good idea. Add some branches. Very simple ones, but so I've definitely, one thing I found about painting stuff like this, or drawing, whatever the hell you want to call it, there's actually some point to having things you can't necessarily, like, there's a benefit to contrast, but there's also a benefit to drawing things without much contrast. So for example, if I make a bit of a dark branch with a different color, it doesn't necessarily have a lot of contrast, it doesn't even stand out, but it kind of adds to the visual noise of the whole thing and makes it so your eye can more easily... So the way I think about it with drawing, I've heard the term drawing the illusion of detail instead of drawing detail, is you want to direct the eye of the viewer, make it so the eye actually kind of takes in the whole and fills in the blanks itself. And so one way I think you can do that is by introducing some noise to the equation. So if there's less of an entirely one color area, and you hint at a shape, like I'm trying to hint at the branches here, so maybe your eye can actually do a bit of a better job at figuring out that, oh, I would like to see a branch there, and then filling in the blanks that I actually haven't drawn, because, well, why would I, when I can get someone else to do my job for me? You know, this kind of makes me think about all the AI drawn stuff, because like this process, like I'm hoping I can keep doing the process, but I'm not, like, it's so different to what you are doing in AI art. Like prompting is really doesn't seem to me like the same kind of deal. Well, it isn't the same kind of deal, but I don't know. I've never really formed the words to like talk about it, to even think about it properly. It's too novel, and there's so much changing about it on like almost a daily basis. It's very hard to present any kind of opinion that is particularly coherent, because like, who will it replace? Certainly it will replace some people, but how many? I don't know. How much of the promotion of it and showing stuff that it can do, a lot of it is simply, a lot of it is definitely coming down to people who actually want to market it, or who are using it and then marketing, for example, lessons on how to utilize it. Like, those people, it's in their interest to introduce it from the brightest side possible. But then there are sides to it that are presented as, wow, look at this incredible technology, that I'm entirely unconvinced by. So like, for example, writing code to something like Snake, so a game that's been replicated a bazillion times, has got a bunch of free to download code on the internet. It's not very impressive to me that the AI can code that. What would be impressive to me would be if an AI could solve a problem that hasn't been solved before. And I suppose that kind of comes into, because when building software, and I don't know why I arrived at software, because I started from drawing. Maybe because I work in that and just is somewhere at the back of my mind all the time. When working in software, you very rarely solve solved problems, because solved problems usually have some kind of library already attached to them. Like, somebody has already had this problem, most likely somebody already solved it, and most likely somebody has made the solution available, so you don't actually have to solve the problem again. You can just, take the solution that somebody else has already made and not lose time. the whole kind of ecosystem of programming is like that. What did this font? Where did this font come from? Oh yeah, solving the problem. So when you actually are needed to solve a problem, it's maybe, you could maybe say it's twofold, or maybe it's like either one of the two. You either are solving a new problem that nobody has solved before, or you have actually you've already sold a bunch of bullshit to the client, and you are now convincing the client what your work is important for something when it in reality it isn't at all. You've just basically made it up. It's no longer, you've basically created a need in the client that it doesn't realize he doesn't have. Like it's manufactured, it's fabricated. And so if you convinced someone, like if you convince someone that he needs a solution to a problem, and you are going to make that solution to a problem in form of a program, and you are aware that program already exists, or maybe is popular, something like that, then a tool like a ChatGPT or whatever the hell you use to write code, whatever AI you use to write code, is gonna be great for basically rewriting the same code with a new coat of paint. Kind of, can I copy your homework? Just make sure it looks different enough so nobody notices, right? That kind of style. It's definitely going to be great for that, because it reproduces stuff that it's learned in a new form, and it's pretty indistinguishable for humans. But I'm not convinced you can, for example, sit someone down with that AI and have that guy describe, like, oh, my business is like this, and then we face those problems in this kind of way. We have these constraints, and then have the AI actually invent and then write a solution to that problem in form. Also, a solution to a problem like that very rarely is just software. It's usually some kind of combination of computer software you would write, but also quote unquote software you would run on the humans in the company. So you would essentially build a bunch of algorithms that the people in the company should follow in order to accomplish certain tasks more effectively or avoid pitfalls. And that part is way harder to define, I think, in terms of code and what to do. I just find it very, very hard to imagine an AI could do all of that with all the nuance and context and the additional input you get. How you can ask additional questions. It's very hard for me to imagine an AI like ChatGPT being able to do all of that. But maybe that's because, it's like, oh, it's not gonna come for me. Interesting to think about. I'm not yet quite that pessimistic about the future of my particular choice of career. But you know what? Maybe at the end of the day, we'll all end up in the AI-run coal mines, because coal mining is going to be something that the AI hasn't figured out how to do yet, because we can't yet make androids as effective as humans are performing tasks such as coal mining. So okay, so how's this tree? Because I'm thinking it's a pretty cool tree. As a finishing touch, before I end the stream, very abruptly, because I've noticed people, hello Quack, hello Nebu, if you are listening, telling me to go play TF2, and so I'd like to get a round or two of TF2 in before bed. Sick tree gum gaming. Understandable. Hello. You know, I've decided making custom trees in Minecraft is too much work. So I've instead decided to make a custom tree in Krita. It's easier, definitely. Why is there a hole in the background? I don't know. Okay, so let's say this is the background. I'll just add a little cloud, a little happy cloud in the background, and I'll be wrapping up this little experience of doodles and such. There you go. That's some clouds. Simple clouds, but why not use a simple cloud when I have the opportunity? All right. I think that's pretty cool. I'm gonna post this tree to some places, probably, maybe, possibly. All right. So anyone still watching, or maybe on the VOD later, thank you very much for showing up to this rambling plus swinging a stylus around section of existence. And I wish you a good day, good evening, good morning, whatever the hell kind of thing you are doing. I hope you have it good. All right, that's gonna be it from me for tonight. Good night / well, good night because it's midnight for me, and I'm going to go play TF2 for a while and then collapse.